Hello, everybody, and welcome back to A Thinking Pack, episode 12. Now, the first thing you may notice, if you have seen any other of my videos, is what happened? Why am I all of a sudden Steve? Well, basically, it has to do with some stuff I'll explain later, because it's more complicated than an introductory explanation, but basically I don't have access to the internet where I am right now. So, and in case you didn't know, with Minecraft, you need internet to load up your custom skins and whatever. So, yes. So, seeing as I don't have access to the internet, that is why I don't look like Handy Andy, but I look like Steve. So anyways, yeah, welcome back to A Thinking Pack, episode 12. And basically, if you haven't seen any of the previous episodes, and if in case you have, I won't explain for very long this time again, but basically we're currently in the middle of a project where we are taking this turtle here, and we are trying to use it. We called it Lava Turtle, and we're taking it, we're going to put lava buckets in the chest like there are right now, and we're taking those lava buckets and trying to transport them up to the surface to fuel our quarry that is upstairs. Up on the surface, not upstairs. Well, I guess there are stairs, so I guess it does count. But anyways, yeah, so that's what we're basically in the middle of doing. So, and just a quick note that as I was editing a couple of the previous episodes, I noticed my explanations seemed to be very difficult to follow and very difficult to like understand sometimes and whatever. So basically, yeah, I'm gonna keep working on that. That's one of the skills of trying to talk on the fly that some people seem to do a very good job at and other people don't. One person being me, but I'm trying to learn how. So, yeah, hopefully you don't mind too much, and hopefully the explanations will be getting better so that you can understand things better as we're going. So anyways, yeah, so back to the project. And actually, one more thing. Actually? Is that opposed to, like, not actually? I don't even know. But anyways, one other thing. So basically, why I don't have access to the internet, and I usually... Oh, did I just see through the ceiling? That was weird. Can I do that again? Somehow? No? Oh, yes. Yes. Where am I? Where was I? Where was it? I don't know. But anyways, yeah, so why I don't have access to the internet. Basically, I was having some problems with... In a previous episode, I was having some problems... I'm going to get rid of that plus that's in front of my face. I was having some problems with my screen recorder. All of a sudden, it was working fine for tons and tons of episodes, and then all of a sudden, it just, like, it was overloading the processor and everything like that, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And if you saw that episode, you'll know what I was talking about. But anyways, and, oh, you know what? Actually, I can put a link in, so up over there, up in the top right of the screen, there'll be a link, if I remember. There'll be a link to that video if you want to see it. But anyways, so yeah, so I was having screen recorder problems all of a sudden. Like, everything had been going fine, and now all of a sudden it wasn't, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. So then I think I asked in the video as well if anyone could give, like, me advice on what they think might have been going wrong, and I didn't get any response. So yeah, I didn't get any response, so oh well, guess nobody wants to talk to me except Mercury went, and yeah, so I asked him about the screen recorder problems, and he knows some stuff about computers, and so he suggested that it could actually not be the screen recorder in the first place. It could be the computer, the heat, basically. So here's like something, if you didn't know as I didn't know, but if you didn't know, basically what a lot of computers do, and it seems like this computer does too. I have a MacBook Pro, in case you're wondering, but basically they have computers, if they get too hot, they stop working and they overheat and everything, so that's not good. But they have ways of managing the heat, and apparently one of those ways is to actually slow the processor down until the heat gets down to a level that the computer can manage. So that would do it. That would be why the actual processor was getting slower. So that's why like the screen recorder all of a sudden was overloading things just because the processor was slower than usual. And that seemed to make a lot of sense, and I did some testing and it seems to work. So yeah, so basically, and in case you're wondering about the heat, this particular computer, at least most computers and things made by Apple, I don't remember about this one in particular, but I think it's the same. They can handle a heat up to 35 degrees Celsius and a humidity of 95%. And in my room in the summer where I was recording, the heat would get up to like, it would be like a 90% humidity with like 30 degrees Celsius. So it was, yeah, that would make sense that's why the computer's having problems. So all that to say, basically, that if things get a little bit weird in the videos, strange or whatever, from like for a while, then that could be why, because I have two solutions to that heat problem. Basically, one solution is I could stay in my room and I have a little fan I can use. I can point that at the computer, and that seemed to actually handle the heat very well. Except that fan will also come in the microphone, so it will sound really strange. Or I'm actually down in the basement right now because it's nice and cool down in the basement, but I don't have access to the internet. So yeah. So anyways, so we'll see how it goes, but yeah. Anyways, all that to say, things might get a little bit strange for a while. Unusual. So anyways, back to the project at hand. Now that we have talked for, well, I guess I have talked for almost 8 minutes now. So anyways, let's get back to the project at hand. So, directory, okay, we called our program Lava Elevator. So let's edit Lava Elevator and find out where we were at last time. So we have a function here that says go to lava. So every time we type in the code, every time we type go to lava, open bracket, close bracket, it will run all this code. And then every time then we have another function called go to surface. And so every time we type go to surface, then it will go to the surface, basically, from its position down here, down by the chest, or actually any position along the path as it's going, I think. Unless I left a hole up in the tunnel up there somewhere. I don't know. But anyway, so anywhere it is in the path, it should find its way back up to the top, if that's what it's doing, and it should find its way back down here if that's what it's doing. So, yeah, so then this part of the code is just where we run the code, so we don't want that right now. So, what we want now that we have a way to actually move the turtle, now we want a way for it to be able to transport certain items and things. Those certain items being lava buckets. So, let's see what we got here. As I've said in previous videos, I actually wrote out the code as sort of a test just to make sure I could fit all the pieces together and everything. So I'm just sort of keeping an eye on a document I have beside me. So here we go. So function. We need a function. Basically, function makes it a lot easier. So what we want it to do now, basically, is for the purposes of this program, we will assume that there are lava buckets in this chest. So, now that we have assumed there are lava buckets in this chest, which there are right now, but we'll just assume that there will always be. Not that there will always be, but that the turtle doesn't have to put them there. The turtle can just sit there and wait for the lava buckets. So that's what we want. So let's go here And let's make a function. So function, and so then we can use this code wherever we want. So let's call it pick up lava buckets. There we go. And we need to open bracket, close bracket, and we need to tell it where the end of the function is. There we go. So in this function, pick up lava pick up lava buckets. How do we want it to achieve that task? So the way that I was thinking of having this do it was basically, actually the way that I originally set this up, it needs more than just the buckets that we have here. It needs a whole, it needs enough to fill the turtle's inventory, basically the way I have it set up. And, well, the way I had it set up in the test program. So this over here, in case you didn't know, this over here is the turtle's inventory. So there's 16 slots in the turtle's inventory, so it can carry 16 stacks of items. Now, buckets, as you can see, buckets don't stack. There's like one bucket per stack if they're full. If they're empty, then it's a different matter. But if they're full, then one per stack. So I have it set up so that once it gets 16 lava buckets in that inventory here, then it'll know that it's full. So that's, I'm gonna show you how to do that. So what I set it up with was a repeat loop over the whole thing, because, okay, so basically let's try to start at the beginning. So we want it to pick up a lava bucket and be able to detect if the inventory is full. And if the inventory is full, then we want it to leave. But we want it to keep repeating until the inventory is full. So let's try explaining it this way. So we want turtle dot select, let's say, no, turtle dot suck. Let's start with that one. Turtle dot suck. That will suck an item from in front of the turtle. Oh, and something else, actually, that I forgot to explain in the programming tutorial is the help system. So basically, you can go from this main screen. I'm just going to restart the turtle so that it looks like something you're used to seeing. So from this main screen, you can type help. I haven't actually used the help system in a while, so let's see if I can remember how to do this. You can type help, and it's suggesting, this is one of the built-in programs on the turtle. So if we type help adventure, it'll give us information about this adventure program. Adventure is a text adventure game for Craft OS. To navigate around the world of adventure, simply type instructions to the interpreter. For example, go north, punch tree, craft planks, mine coal with pickaxe, hit creeper with sword, that kind of stuff. I haven't actually checked out the adventure program, so if you want to do that sometime, that would be... Go ahead, sure, great. I haven't actually tried it. But you can type help, and you can type a lot of different things. So let's say we can get help, if I remember correctly, we can get help on turtle commands and things. We can get help on all kinds of different commands. So like if we type in turtle, there we go. So here, this gives you basically a list of all the different turtle commands that we can use. So turtle is an API available on turtles which controls their movement. API, I think, stands for Application Programming Interface or something. It's, yeah, so anyways, functions in the turtle API. Turtle.forward, turtle.back, turtle.up, turtle.down, turtle.turn left, turtle.turn right, turtle.select, turtle.get selected slot, all that kind of stuff. There's a whole pile of them here that you can look at if you want. I'm just going to keep scrolling through them. And so that's a whole bunch of different ones. Events fired by the turtle API. Turtle underscore inventory when any of the items in the inventory are changed. Use comparison operations to inspect the changes. So events and things, that is slightly more advanced programming in the ComputerCraft mod, and I think I've used them once maybe so far, but yeah, you can do a lot of basic things without that. So, yeah. So, and you can type help, and let's see, what else is there? There's something else you might want is terminal. Term, help term. Functions in the terminal API. Term.write, basically you can write text to the screen. And term.write, term.blit, that is not something I've heard of before. Term.clear, term.clear line, and this can all be useful for if you're trying to do any kind of text or graphics or anything. You can use it for, what's this say? Events emitted by the terminals. Term underscore resize when the size of a terminal changes. This can happen in multitasking environments or when the terminal out is being redirected by the monitor program. So basically there's ways that you can connect a monitor to these turtles and computers, and then you can see, like on a screen, what different things that you want to put on it. So, yeah. And you can type different things in here. So that's basically the help system. So, yeah, something else that I forgot to explain. So anyways, let's get back. I like the screen to be clear all the time, so that's why I restart so often. So let's get back into the program. Edit lava elevator. So we have our go to lava function. We have our go to surface function. Now pick up lava buckets. So turtle.suck, basically what that does, you can read this on the on the ComputerCraft wiki if you're interested. But basically what that does is the turtle will suck whatever's in front of it. Basically like pick it up. So like sort of like how the player would do if, like, let's say there were some sand on the ground like that, then as the player walks close to it, let's see if I go in this view, it might be easier to see, I don't know. But as the player walks close to it, then it looks like it gets sucked up, basically. And that's the same idea with the turtle. So turtle.suck, so if there's an item floating on the ground in front of it, it will suck that up. But if there is some block with an inventory in front of it, like a chest, then it will suck out of the chest. And I think I heard that it sucks the first item. I'm not positive on that, but I think so. So like it would take this lava bucket first, and then this lava bucket, and then this lava bucket, like that. So that's basically turtle.suck. So it will take a lava bucket for running this command. So then what we want it to do is, so that's basically the simple thing. So let's see, the next part of it gets a little bit more complicated. So let's see, hopefully this will be understandable. So let's make a loop, basically. So what I'm thinking of doing is, basically I have two different loops. So essentially, let's start it, actually I think, let's start here. So first with the repeat loop. Repeat, because that's kind of the big loop around the whole thing. So until, repeat until, and then we want it to, basically, we want it to keep sitting here until it finds that it's full. So basically keep sitting in here until it gets a full inventory of buckets. So now, how do we want to do that? So the way that I thought of was to use variables. So basically have another loop inside here, which a for loop. And actually I'm going to indent all this so that it is easier to see what's going on. And get the cursor back around to here. And the for loop. Okay, so if you remember how for loops work, if you saw that introductory explanationary, if that's the word, if you saw that video where I explained that, then basically a for loop, you can put a variable. Usually people put I. So for I equals, and then let's do 1 to 16, because it is incredibly useful for this that is not an O. There we go. So it's incredibly useful for being able to scan through the turtle's inventory. So basically, what I'm going to have it do is I'm going to have it start at 1, and when it says 1, I'm going to have it do turtle.select and then slot I. So basically, when I equals 1, then it'll select slot 1, which is this one. The slots go in order like this, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the next line 5, 6, 7, 8, and then the next line like that. And so it'll select slot 1. It will suck an item that's in front of it, if there is an item in front of it, and it will stick it in the first slot. And then from there, then what we want it to do is we want it to, basically the goal we're trying to accomplish is every time it does this loop, 1 to 16, it will select the slot and it will suck an item into it. And it'll do that for every slot until it's done, and then it'll be done the for loop. And I'm going to set it like here so that you can see things better. So that's basically what it'll do. Then what we want is to be able to tell if all of the slots are full. So basically the way this is going, I think there's two things going on at once. So as it does this loop, it's sucking the items into the slots, but also as it does this loop, I'm going to set up a variable through which we can check to see if all the slots are full. And so let's call that variable full. And we want it to go until full is equal to, let's say 1. So let's say 0 if the inventory is not full, and 1 if the inventory is full. So we want it to keep repeating, keep waiting here until the inventory is full. That's the idea. So yeah, so now we need a place to actually put in this variable, the full variable. So the way I was thinking of doing this is basically using the idea of, for the purposes of the program, let's assume the inventory is full until proven empty, basically. Or not empty, but not full. Partially full, whatever. So assume it's full until proven not full, for the purposes of this program, because that sounds like a good way to do it. So we want, when it starts this loop here, we want to set the variable here. So full, and let's set full equal to 1. So we'll assume the inventory is full. And then every time we do this loop where we check for the slots, oh, my arrow key is getting stuck. That is very strange. Anyways, so yeah, so we want, every time we do this loop, basically we want it to check. It selects the slot, it tries to suck up an item from the chest, and then it checks, did it get an item? Basically, because the only reason it wouldn't get an item is if the chest isn't completely full, like isn't full enough, doesn't have enough buckets in it. That's the only reason it wouldn't get an item. And oh, you know what? I didn't actually say the reason that we're doing things this way. So you may have thought, if you're a little more observant than me or whatever, you may have thought that, well, why don't I just go with the 6 buckets that are there? Why do I have to fill up the whole inventory first? Well, the reason for that is actually because the turtle uses fuel for every block that it moves. And so basically I'm figuring, why have it move a load of only 6 buckets like this when we can move a load of 16 buckets and use the same amount of fuel? So that's what I'm figuring. So that's why I want the turtle to wait until it gets completely full. So at some point I'm going to have to go over and get more buckets. But anyways, for now, we should be good. So where were we? We were here. We were... Yeah, so we want it to select the slot, try to suck an item out of the chest, and then check if it got one. Basically check if the slot has something in it. So let's do an if, because that's the best way to check if something. And here's where we end the if. So inside this if there's a function, if you happen to see it earlier when we were going through the turtle help system, if turtle dot get item count, there we go. So this is basically this function. This function will, no, not this function. Yeah, this function. Yeah, this command, I guess I could say, just to try to use the proper word. Anyways, basically this command will check the item count, the count of the currently selected item slot. So let me try to demonstrate this. Let's go into the interactive Lua prompt. Okay, so let's say, so I'm trying to demonstrate the selection right now. So you can sort of see around this first slot there's kind of an outline. If I do turtle.select, and if I do a different number, like let's say 12, then you can see that outline that was around this one moved over there. I can do the same thing, turtle.select 10, let's say. I can do turtle.select anything up to 16. 16 is this last slot, and I've never actually tried what happens if I do 17. Slot number 17 out of range. So there you go. So yeah, so this little box around here basically demonstrates the selection range. So yeah, so let's restart again. And basically how this command works, this turtle.getItemCount, is you don't need to actually put like the I in there for the loop, like to check which slot you want to check the item count for. You don't even need to do that. So what you need to do, so the first command up here, turtle.select I, that will select the slot that matches the time through the loop. So it'll select the first slot on the first time, second slot on the second time, like that. When the first slot is selected, then the command down here gets run, the turtle.getItemCount, and it gets run on the currently selected slot. So first time it will check the first slot. And what this command does, basically, and you can check this if you want by going in the interactive Lua prompt. So, but basically, what this command does is it will give you a number of what is in that slot, how many items. So all we want to check, since lava buckets don't stack, is we want to check if turtle.getItemCount is less than 1. Let's put a space in between. There we go. So we want to check if turtle.getItemCount is less than 1. And if it is less than 1, meaning that it's 0, which meaning that there is no item in the slot, then if turtle.getItemCount is less than 1, then we want it to set full to 0. So basically what this is doing, full equals 0. Basically what this is doing is it assumes full is equal to 1. So like it assumes that there's something there until proven that there isn't something there. So basically when it starts let's see if I can explain this way. Basically when it starts the loop up here, it assumes there's something in the slot. So as I said before, that there's two things going on here. Basically the one thing is that it's picking up items, but the other thing that the loop is doing is it's checking to see if the inventory is full. And the way we have this set up, it's kind of doing them both at the same time. So it starts. So for the purposes of discussion, let's assume that it's already picked up all the items it wants, because that's basically what the variables are seeing. So basically, it takes... First thing it checks, it assumes that there is an item everywhere. And then it selects the first slot, and then it... Down here is the next place where it deals with the item counts. So then it checks, in the first slot, it checks how many items are there. Are there fewer than one item? So basically, is there no items in the slot? Then if there is no items in the slot, then it knows the inventory is not full, so it sets full to 0. And then that's it. So basically at that point, there's nothing else that can happen. So it'll keep going through the loop until it does the whole 16 times. And then it'll get down to the end and check, is full equal to 1? And no, full is equal to 0. And so then it's like, well, go back up to the beginning of the repeat. Sets full back to 1 again. It assumes that the inventory is full. And then it keeps going until this loop gets through to where it finds a slot that is not full. And then it sets full to 0. And so then it doesn't end the loop. And basically the only way it will end the loop is if it can go through this for loop 16 times, the entire for loop, without ever setting full to 0. Then full will be equal to 1, and then it can proceed. And basically the only time that will happen is if the inventory here is completely full. So that is basically what this command will do, assuming I didn't make any mistakes. So let's see if it actually works. So I always forget what we called the program. Lava elevator. Lava elevator. Oh, and you know what? That actually won't do anything, because I made it a function and didn't actually tell it to run the function. So in case you're wondering, all this running the function stuff, we'll set all that stuff up after. We're just in sort of a testing mode right now. So what did we call this function? Pick up lava buckets. Pick up lava buckets. Open bracket, close bracket, save, and exit. Now restart. And now run lava elevator. There we go. So you can see it's picking up all the buckets that are in the chest, and it's gonna keep going through until it ends up getting completely full. Now, actually, the only other thing that we should probably do is that this here, it's going to keep going infinitely until it finds that it's full. Now, that's a waste of computer power. So we can actually tell it, here's another command. It's actually an OS command if you want to look that up in the help system, but to see what other OS commands there are. But anyways, so there's os.sleep, and basically what that'll do is it will basically pause the program, basically. So that way it uses less computer power. So let's just try to figure out where to put this. Trying to think of two things at once is not easy. So, okay, let's try putting it... Let's put it at the beginning of the repeat. Why not? So, just to give it a little bit of a delay so that it's not infinitely, like, looping through the inventory super, super fast. So, just to give it a little bit of a pause, os.sleep, because I've never actually had enough computers running at a time to be able to do this, but I've heard that if you have too many of them running at once, it can slow your game down if you don't have a computer that's powerful enough to handle it. So yeah, so it's good to, when you don't need the computer to be actually being active, it's good to set it to sleep for a certain amount of time. So let's see, what do we want to do here? Sleep for, let's say, 2 seconds. So this particular place in the program that we put it, okay, that's a lot of alliteration, I think is what it's called. The particular place in the program that we put it. Anyways, so this particular place in the program that we put it, it will, the first time it runs it, it will sleep before actually picking up any buckets. Which is not really what I want it to do, but it's not too bad. So then it will go, and then it will check every slot in the inventory. And then once it checks every slot in the inventory, then it'll check if it's full. And if it's not full, then it will figure that it's still waiting for buckets from whatever system is putting the buckets in the chest. So that is when it will sleep again, basically. So let's try that. Exit, restart, and the only other thing I'm going to do, and then it's about time to wrap this episode up pretty soon. Actually, like 15 minutes ago-ish. But anyways, I'm going to put the buckets back in there, so just to see what happens. So run lava elevator. And so see there, that was the 2-second sleep. Now it's going through, and now it's doing a 2-second sleep again, and it's going through again, and then it's 2 seconds sleeping again, and that kind of stuff. So basically, that is now the completed pick up lava buckets function. So yeah, and it seems to be working so far. So far, so good. So anyways, here's Steve again. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and yeah, so, whoops, I'm not going to torch off the wall again. Which slot is the torch? Torch is over here. Doink! Yay! So, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and yeah, so next time we're going to continue. Next time we are probably going to work on actually, next time we're probably going to go mining for some more iron in order to make the buckets that we need in order to move on to the next stage. So yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed the video, and see you later. Bye-bye!